ready to go.
Good.
Right, welcome everyone. For those watching the stream, thanks Bob for joining me. If anyone else wants to join the Jitsi chat, the link is in the discourse post for today's meeting. I will be following the Mattermost chat at chat.libretime.org, as well as the YouTube chat. So if anyone wants to say anything or add anything there instead of joining the video conference, by all means, you're welcome to do that. Let's have a look at the agenda for tonight. If I can share my screen. So this is the agenda as it stands for tonight. We'll look at some progress reports, what we're working on, issues, PRs that we need to look at, focuses for 3.0 for the beta, fairly standard. Then additional things that we haven't covered before is the open collective spending proposal. There's a link in the notes for that. Just some discussion around that. If anyone has any additional items, by all means, add them to the agenda. And then once we've got through those, we'll do a short question and answer session, any other business, and discuss the next meeting time and place, date and time rather. I'll try keep this meeting to an hour. I know we've got places to be and people have things to do, so we'll keep it to a maximum of an hour. But if there is any additional stuff that wants to go around, wants to chat, we do also have the various chat platforms and GitHub. So chat.libretime.org, discourse.libretime.org, and the GitHub issues for technical bugs and feature requests. But yeah, welcome, and I suppose let's get started. Are there any progress reports or things that anyone's working on that they want to report back on?
I've been following some of the discussion in discourse, and I think SSL is a major stumbling block for a lot of new installations, and especially old installations that are trying to upgrade to a secure connection. So I think if focus is to be placed on any one area of development, SSL and ease of changing the URL should get some attention.
Yeah. There is some reverse proxy docs, but are you saying more on that, or more detailed, maybe scripting to replace it?
Possibly scripting to replace it, but something built right into the application itself to make it easier to change a URL so that it doesn't require a reinstallation to make that change.
Yeah, that's true, because it's written in a variety of places that probably make it easier to change one and have it all the rest done.
Yes.
Cool. Well, I've been working on a couple PRs that should hopefully get work on soon. One was, I see we're missing the Python 3 development package. So that's there. That should hopefully fix a couple of PyCairo failed installations. Ubuntu 20.04 support, that we're running into liquid soap failures that I was hoping Lucas could have a look at. Maybe he'll get a chance to in the next little bit. And then, as always, API 2.0 that's hanging over my head. That the biggest issue there is just time. I just need the time to implement the group commission structure, and I'm hoping to do that in the next, maybe hopefully before the next meeting. And now things have calmed down a little bit. And yeah, the other things, I don't think there's been much other code development work that's been going on. It's been fairly quiet. Yeah, there was documentation changes, but everything else has been from a while ago. In terms of more community developments, there's been a fair bit on discussion around the open collective funding, spending, and things like that. But I think we'll get to that later on in the agenda. But I guess on this point, I can say that we haven't been selected for the fund open source software matching campaign, which we applied for, which I think is kind of to be expected. I don't think we were as active as they wanted projects that they were funding to be. But yeah, so that hasn't gone through. Maybe we'll be selected for a future round. Okay, then any issues or PRs that on our radar? The SSL stuff, Bob, do you know if there are issues open for that? Bob, can you hear me?
The mute button.
The infamous mute button.
The mute button on my headset, so wasn't even visible on the screen. I haven't looked. I'm not in a position myself to enable SSL at the moment. We have some DNS problems that need to get sorted out first. But I'm just having a quick look at GitHub now and just looking for the key phrase SSL. Icecast SSL questions. So there's one issue called changing port from 80 to another, which is issue 1085. Changing from port 80 to another for API. So I don't know that that is directly applicable.
Okay, yeah, it seems there's no direct issue for it then. So what I maybe do you want to open those issues, or
I can make a feature request to enable an easier way to turn on SSL, and that should sort of cover a whole raft of different methods of achieving that, whether it's through scripting a reverse proxy or changing the code to not have so many places where URLs need to be updated.
Yeah.
So
cool. That'd be awesome. Thanks.
I will do that.
Cool. Yes, Ntando.
I just wanted to say good evening, everyone. Sorry, I'm late.
Evening, no worries. Cool. Has there been any issues or PRs that you've been dealing with or wanting to work with?
Yes. So I've been particularly interested in just getting the podcast features working. Played around with it a little bit, had a look at the issues, noted that some of the code was commented out, not necessarily removed, but more importantly, you are able to import an RSS of a podcast, and it'll pull all of the tracks, but you aren't able to, yeah, just create a podcast directly on the server using Libre. So that for me is a feature I think would separate LibreTime from the rest. I was just it was interesting on our matters most. I kind of stumbled upon another up and coming online radio server, and I noted that they also didn't have podcasts, and so it really does stand as a feature that will separate us from, you know, um, other other platforms.
When
So
podcast
that's
works,
hmm
when podcast is working, it is working very, very well indeed. We rely a lot on the podcast feature to air syndicated shows. And yes, there are some podcast feeds that will show the list of episodes, but refuses to
yeah.
download them. I've run into that with 3 or 4 out of maybe 24 podcasts that we download.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's interesting to know because the few that I tried actually didn't have any issues. I didn't try a lot. I don't want to lie, but so yeah. Since the last time I dug into this with you, Kyle, I actually didn't really revisit it just due to sheer work on my side. But yeah, definitely that's something that I'm hoping before the next before the next meetup there'll be a little bit of progress. Yeah, but that's me. Cheers.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks. Right. Then 3.0, I don't think there's been any new issues that necessarily need adding to that. As far as I know, SSL is on there. Okay, yeah. Well, we've got a closed issue about reverse proxying, but I think once that issue is created, I'll add that to the as a blocker, so that for 3.0, because that is going to be needed. So I'll action myself there. But other than that, I don't think there have been any new stuff that needs doing or that needs like has to be done before 3.0. Does anyone know of any new issues that need tagging as blockers? Cool. I'll just add that issue. Cool. Right, then probably the next item is going to be the meat of the meeting. The open collective spending proposal, which Gus did recommend I rename, and actually I agree needs renaming. It's more of a Gus, how did you say just trying to find it. Yeah. Here we go. It's a LibreTime spending proposal and leadership structure more than how do we use the open collective. I'll just post a link to the actual proposal in the chat. See, Gus asks if the beta release blocker tracking board is up to date. I don't know whether it's up to date. It looks similar-ish. So yeah, that looks like it's about right. But yeah, I was just looking at the 3.0 release blocker tag under issues. Okay, so this proposal, I've sent a link. I've posted a link to version 2, which is the most up to date. I was working on it today, and mainly it's trying to formalize the kind of what's it that it's called? It's a self-appointed board management style, using a kind of delegated model of fund approval. So there's lots of definitions and stuff in there, but largely it's following the same kind of system and style that LibreTime currently follows for code development, and tries to apply that to funding, management and approval, or spending rather, not funding. So the project's led by a board of administrators. They are currently, if I can get this open, Teams. Yeah, so currently it's Heme, JM Trivial, who's inactive, Rob, and myself. And we answerable to the contributors, i.e. everyone who contributes to LibreTime. There is an actual group that people are added to, in terms of the GitHub organization, but that's more just so that people can triage and like add labels and stuff to issues. But essentially, contributor means anyone who is regularly involved with the project. I would like to find a better definition that includes people who are either contributing financially or are large users of LibreTime. So it's not just feedback from developers, but I'm not quite sure how to incorporate that in this proposal. So suggestions welcome. And yeah, so then there's the maintainers, which are maintainers of the code. They manage, as far as I know, they can approve and merge PRs. Yeah, maintainers merge pull requests. At the moment, those members are Heme, Rob, myself, Ned Kelly, and Free and Culture Libre. So they are responsible for managing the code side of things. They're not really involved too much in this proposal, but are mentioned here as part of that leadership structure for both the code and spending. Then the proposal goes on to try to define a couple of methods or things that are justified to be proposed, either in terms of projects or reimbursements, that LibreTime can spend money on. Obviously, this is not an exhaustive list. I've tried to make them as generic as possible. So it talks about projects, just anything related to LibreTime that has an upfront cost or can be proposed, discussed, and approved. So be that a demo, website, feature implementation, documentation, ongoing costs, essentially. Then the idea is that these proposals be proposed, approved at an estimated cost and kind of time frame, and then from that people can go ahead, do things, and upload invoices to the open collective to be approved, and then assuming that they in line with what the proposal was and the estimated cost, then those get approved and go ahead. The idea of pre-approval is more just to ensure that people aren't spending lots of money and then hoping that they get it back. I'd rather people know that they are going to get their money reimbursed or money paid back to them before they spend it themselves, just so that it's a bit more confidence to them. And then the other section for spending is reimbursements. So costs incurred, for example, traveling to a conference to give a talk, or essentially any once-off cost that's also can be preempted. That can then be proposed with an associated cost, approved, and then the same as projects, the invoices get uploaded to Open Collective for approval. So yeah, maybe just open the floor to questions, comments, discussion about it. If anyone has any immediate thoughts, I'll try just jot them down. We can try and incorporate them into the proposal on discourse.
I'm sorry, it's Bob Drunkman. I haven't really followed this initiative very well at all. We're not in a position to contribute financially. Our station is just in survival mode at the moment. And as far as code development goes, I see nothing that I can actually contribute to directly, and don't expect to incur any expenses either. So I'm sort of removed from the whole process.
Yeah, cool. No worries. I think it's more a framework for things happening in the future. I don't know of any immediate things that anyone's going, okay, I have this project that I want to do that, but it requires money. There are kind of pipe dreams that we would like to see done that maybe we can push money to instead of trying to find a lot of time to do. But they are, I think they're more driven by us needing them done than someone who has a desire to do them. Yeah, Ntando.
No, I really like this open collective initiative. It's awesome, and I mean, you know, being open source, I think it is relied on by quite a lot of the community radios, and so yeah, man, I do see potential for this in terms of stations and online radios contributing. So yeah, I just wanted to say this is really cool. And yes, there are a couple of online radios which I think would like to pick their hands up for this. So I'll keep this in mind. It's the first time I'm hearing of it. I just went onto it and I saw that on Discourse this was spoken of on the 19th of Feb, or created on the 19th of Feb. Actually didn't catch on until today. But yeah, we'll definitely keep it in mind going forward.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, why I bring it up here is more to just raise some awareness for it. I'm not expecting some hard answers to come out of this meeting. I don't think it's really the right space for it. But it's easier sometimes to have face-to-face discussions about it. There is a sustain channel on our Mattermost instance, chat.libretime.org, that is kind of dedicated to working on these kind of issues. So if you are interested, please do join that, come chat. And I will try to organize a meeting of that group at some point in the future, in the near future, to kind of hash more of this out. Otherwise, yeah, feel free to comment on the discourse thread, and we can take it from there. Yeah, thank you for adding that to the chat. To the minute. Okay. Before we move on to questions and answers, is there any other agenda points that anyone would like to add? Otherwise, we can discuss them in any other business too. Okay, cool. So let's move into the question answer session section of this. This is kind of any questions, comments, discussion around the project. It's interesting to hear what people have been working on, what kind of the issues they've run into, where our documentation kind of falls short, and that kind of stems out of questions and answers. So has anyone got any questions, comments, anything like that?
We're still running a very old version of LibreTime, something that I downloaded over a year ago now. So I'm not really in any shape to be contributing. But if you don't mind, I wouldn't mind showing you one little tweak that I've done to the login screen. If I could share my screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
So looking here at, oh, there we go, infinite LibreTime. Here's our opening screen. So I've changed the little logo there in the background logo, and that would be nice to have as an interface item on the settings screen. By the way, it took a bit of time to figure out where that file should come from. Then as we log in,
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, one of the things that I've added here is a little message of the day announcement, which I just added into the login script, and it pulls a message of the day HTML file from the root of airtime / MVC, I think is where most of those files sit. And so I can easily make those changes by just editing some HTML, which I can try to show you as well. If I switch over to our actual online LibreTime server, and just show you where that exists. So that's Sound FM. Where is Radio Waterloo on LibreTime? That's on Vagrant. That's not the one you want. All right, one moment. Didn't think it was going to be quite this difficult. Nope, not there. And not there either. All right, maybe I'm not quite as ready to go as I thought I was. So I'll just try to expand that a little bit to make it a bit easier to see. There we go. So if I go into user share airtime PHP, somewhere in there. There we go. I have a message of the day file I've added in there, which I can easily modify just by knowing a little bit of HTML. So right now the message that is there is just that bit right there. And then I have some commented out things for things that I use frequently. For example, our upcoming programming committee meeting and our upcoming board of directors meeting. And essentially, they just insert themselves into the login script with a simple include call for the file. So, not sure if that's of interest to anybody else. But,
that's actually really cool. I think it'd be helpful for the stations I support as well.
Okay. Back
Thanks.
to infinite screens. Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh.
There's a
Pedro
question
asks, is display method using templates? So could you move the announcement box if you wished?
No, it's just hard coded into the login script, and so there's no facility in the message of the day file itself to move itself around unless you wanted to add some style sheet type markup in there as well, which I haven't done. This is a quick and dirty fix. Somebody wanted to put an announcement out to the membership fairly quickly, and it is remarkably easy to do in the login PHP file. So, quick and dirty hack, but a useful one.
Maybe something we need to consider adding to the base system too.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to contribute a little bit of code for that. One, because it is not only quick but dirty, but also because there's no user interface that allows you to manipulate the file, and it requires a fair bit of HTML knowledge to make it look pretty. So it really needs a tiny MCE editor or something right in the settings screen before it really becomes user-friendly.
Yeah, maybe something to look at once we've overhauled the UI and move that over to JavaScript.
In the meantime, I'm happy to send up that login .php file as a branch. So it doesn't necessarily have to go into mainline, but if anybody else wants to do it, they can.
It may be nice to add it to the docs as
all right.
I think under system for system administrators, something under there for there's like interface localization and other more under the hood changes. Maybe a page in there for how to add it.
Okay, that'd be cool. And because it's accessing an external file, the message itself is not in the code, but is in an external file. If the file doesn't exist, nothing happens from a user perspective. It looks the same as it always did.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Any other questions or demos or things people are doing that are interesting? Cool. I guess I'll end the section with a bit of a anecdote. One of the stations I support is called UCT Radio, and they're at the University of Cape Town. And we've currently been started yesterday, this huge fire that's burned through much of the campus and the mountain surrounding it. But our programming has managed to continue on pretty much unchanged because it's all running remotely on LibreTime at the moment anyway. And we've effectively had to shut down the in-person studio as no one could get onto campus. But yeah, most as far as I can gather, the station is still fine, aside from potential smoke damage. but we've been able to broadcast pretty much unchanged, which is great.
We have a similar situation, not a fire, but the COVID pandemic. Ontario, Canada has just been locked down. Only essential service. Now, radio happens to be an essential service, but we've locked down our studio anyway. And if it hadn't been for LibreTime, we would have had a much more difficult task in keeping ourselves on the air. So really, really appreciate the existence of LibreTime. It's been wonderful.
And the other thing I'm actually working on now, not directly on LibreTime code, but related, is trying to develop a better way of doing kind of an integrated Mumble live broadcasts, so we can do remote broadcast in kind of at a show level, with multiple presenters and essentially managed music database. Once I have that working, I will try document it a bit more and put it somewhere accessible, because I figured it may be something that other people are interested in, or can contribute to, but it's largely abusing Mumble, FFmpeg, and a couple of plugins around that. Cool. Is there any other business that we should discuss, chat about? All right, sorry. There's one question here from Gus, or statement. One ongoing question is when we can get to 3.0. Seems like these comments from about a year ago still hold true. It's a link to, I assume, Rob's list of to-dos Gus's list of to-dos. The reverse proxy has been done, but needs probably the SSL termination and secure URL changes stuff working. The other two I'm not as familiar with. And then, do the folks who claim the release blockers need help? Are there still unclaimed issues? How can we help move that forward? So yes, I don't actually know who has claimed those issues. Looks like, yeah, Rob's been working on the Flash. I don't know what his progress is. Him and Zach, I see there's some related there. So I don't know what the progress there is. Maybe it's something to follow up on that issue. I think Rob's kind of just been bogged down by his personal life at the moment, which is why there hasn't been much progress there. The question concerning podcast download time of day has been closed as stale. But it's, that release blocker tag has been moved. So by the looks of it, I would like Ubuntu 20.04 support to be included in here for 3.0, but 18.04 is still supported. So I guess, the priority is getting the Adobe Flash removed. It has been removed from the playout history. So I think it's just the media players that need work. Maybe we can post on that issue and try follow up on what that issue, what the status of that is. Because I would like to get 3.0 out the door. Okay. Is there any other business, any other topics that we'd like to discuss?
Yeah, just a quick one. In one of the Matters Most channels, I just earlier on I referred to when I was referring to the alternative open source online radio platform. It was actually Azurecast. And I think somebody said we should look into having a similar video for Libre. And I think that's a really good suggestion. And I'm not sure, who we could lean on to kind of get that done, but it would increase awareness and work in our favor. Maybe even get us additional people that will support the initiative. But yeah, I think that needs to be looked at seriously. Cheers.
Yeah, so there are some. I'll just post the link in the chat for the video you're referring to. And add it to here. There are some videos that Rob did that are on our YouTube channel for how to do specific things in LibreTime, from installing to I think creating smart playlists, uploading media, managing library, and kind of the basics. I have, I don't recall actually watching that Azuracast demo, but maybe it is. I agree it is something that would be helpful. Maybe working on some sort of promo video and demo video just to kind of so that people get an idea of what LibreTime is and kind of what is the niche that it fills. In terms of how we go about doing it, that's another question altogether. The issue is, I think we need someone who has the time and the ability to say, I'm keen to do it. So if you know anyone or if you are able to do that, by all means, we'd be happy to help.
Yeah, I don't think I'll put my hand up for that one. But I actually haven't gone through the YouTube vids of the Libre time, but I did kind of quickly skim through the Zurecast one, and it's exactly what you were mentioning, just like a rudimentary kind of walkthrough of installation and basic features, playlists, all that stuff. So I mean, then if it's there, then it really doesn't need to be rehashed. We don't have to reinvent it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But yeah,
Cool.
that's cool.
Right. And then the next meeting. Can I suggest we go back to the 17th, which next month is a Monday as well. So it will be the third Monday of May, which works for Bob quite well. But there is a discourse discussion around what meeting time and date should we keep kind of as a regular occurrence. I've posted the link there and I'll post it in this as well. The current working suggestion is the 17th of the month every month. So whether that's whatever day that is, so it kind of works its way through the week, as well as kind of alternating the time. The main issue with altering the time at the moment is we don't have someone to run it while I'm asleep or working. So if there is someone who's keen to step up and run some of the meetings, by all means, give me a shout or let me know. Yeah, and Gus says ideally Rob and Lucas should chime in if there's a better time as well. Yeah, I agree. Maybe we keep it at 1900 UTC for the moment, just to give a bit more time for people to jump in the discourse, and then aim to have a set time next month that we then stick to for meetings going forward.
That works for me for next month at any rate. So I'm happy with the 17th of May at 1900 UTC.
So yeah, I'm good with that date.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for coming, and I'll see you next month. See you around the various chat platforms and the code.
It's great. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for all the work you're putting into this.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm off.
Everyone.
Bye, all.